Uh, mic test 1 2. Um, TikTok, YouTube must be able. Yeah, YouTube, you can hear me for sure. TikTok, can you hear me? Sound of this video is so hard to listen. YouTube, where's my YouTube button right now? Dropping frames. Oop, that's admin. It's time. Time to less than 100. Why are you not connecting? Running bad. Yes, sir. I need to quickly be able to open my emails quick. Can you guys hear me? Thank you for the heart, me. Can't even see the way this thing is so slow. What's happening? Uh, Quinn, uh, Quan, what? Qtonic. Uh, when am I doing a game? I don't know. Do you guys want us to do a game as well? I did a game. One of the lives, I did a game. Snake game. But we'll see again in future. Oh, I need more of this. Okay, we're getting started shortly. It took me, I'll say 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. But I've been doing it for 8 years now. Okay, no, I'll see that later. I've got like 1 minute left. I can manage the chats here. Ooh, tried to start a bit early today. But I'm already like late. Let's get started. It's 8 o'clock. Dart is my favorite programming language because of Flutter. This chat is slow. Yeah, I'm more of a mobile developer than I am. Okay, do a lot of web, but I prefer more mobile than web. But I do a lot of web, a lot of web work. Mm. Cool. Let's start. Let us start. Let us start. Let us start. Ish, that email is not showing up. What's happening with my procedure? I might have to quickly restart because this is so slow. I cannot cope. I need to restart and then I'll be back. You can give it like 5 minutes. Yes, VS can work offline. No, this is a MacBook and I'm using virtual machine, so I don't know what's taking up all of this. Oh, I know why. There's applications I've open outside. Okay, before I restart, let me just close these applications and see if it does a difference. No, I don't work for MTN. I don't work for MTN. I work for a financial institution. Um, won't say it out loud, but yeah. Okay, it seems like it's a bit responsive now because that was very slow. Yeah, it's a bit better now. My LinkedIn is on my portfolio. You can just check out my portfolio. My LinkedIn is yo. The first thing that shows up is what I don't really say. Yeah, so you can just search Simphiwe Radebe on LinkedIn. If you find an Android developer, then that's me. Okay, it seems a bit faster. I have two of these open. Ish. But we can, oh gosh, then these things. I think we can start. Is everyone ready? Can we start? YouTube, are you ready? YouTube, TikTok, you ready? Uh, Yes, I'm streaming on YouTube as well. So it's on both YouTube and TikTok. Okay. Now it's working. This is what I want. Cool. Let's start. Please don't show up my emails. Yo. Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay, now we're on lesson 10. We're now on lesson 10. And lesson 10 is this mini project of us creating a login form. Okay. So there's a part 1 and a part 2. So if you're new here, please just let me know. You can download the repo. You can download the repo here. It's github.com forward slash
I5.
high five. Oh, I5.
You work for
You
Mountain?
work for Mountain? It's only catching up now, this thing. Okay, let me try and paste the link. So it'll be github.com forward slash. Where's my social links that I can just paste on here? When I download the oof.
I sent my number on TikTok Bro to be added to the WTP group, but still.
I added a few people. Maybe I missed you. I already added a few people. I think I might have missed you. I'll try and add you. We can have this. Okay, if you want to download the repo, here's the repo right there. I didn't want to edit this. Cool. So you'll be able to see the repo there. Now
Can't you pin the link in the comment section?
I can't put in links. It's not gonna allow me. Doesn't allow me to post links. It's github.com. Sips. Maybe I can post that.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Okay, I posted my GitHub profile. Oh, it's not showing. Yeah, there's it. So you'll find the latest repo called week 4 JavaScript. So all you'll have to do is to download the repo or clone it, and then we continue together. So we've already done the lessons we've done so far. We've done lesson 1, which was just us working on JavaScript and manipulating our HTML document. Then we did lesson 2, learning about variables. Lesson 3 was variables part 2. So this was now numbers. Then we did lesson 4, which is our if and else statements. Okay, so that's conditionals. We did lesson 5, which was our functions. We done functions continued, which was lesson 6. Then we done lesson 7, which was parameters of functions. Then lesson 8, which was functions return, so functions that were returning a value. Lesson 9 was variable scope, and that's where we ended. So now we want to do lesson 10. So week 4. Week 4 JavaScript. Okay. So you've downloaded week 4 JavaScript. If you've downloaded week 4 JavaScript, then yeah, then you'll just open it up on VS Code. Then this will be the code you have. You'll have an index.html, a readme file, style, and variable definitions. So this is just something we're doing or showing people what the variables are for, like what var is, what let is, and what const is, right? So let's continue. Let's go to lesson 10. So for lesson 10, we'll be doing a login page, right? Can I hide this thing? Yeah, stick a stroke. Okay, now we're on lesson 10. Are we all together? I'm continuing it. So lesson 10 says we're doing a login form. So we'll have to have a form with an input for the user. So will be a username, then a password. Then we just need a function to verify the user, right? So this is just bare bones straightforward. Okay. So let's quickly jump into that. So yesterday we were creating a div which will showcase our entire lesson. So we've got div with class lesson. Okay. It's our div with class lesson. And then inside here we'll have an h2. Then in this h2 we'll write lesson 10. This is our mini project login form part 1. Login form part 1. Then we have a paragraph, strong. The concept we're trying to achieve here is getting user input from form elements. Okay, cool. So let's create our form. So we'll have a form class. In this form class we'll just add a label. So this is just to label our input. So this one will say the label is for. This is just us saying which input field are we using this label for. So we'll have our input field named username input 10. 10 is for the lesson we're on. We're currently on lesson 10. So it's user name, right? Then we put the input, and the type of this input will be text because it's a username. Then we'll have an ID so we can use it in JavaScript. The ID would be what you used here. So this will now reference this ID so that this label is for this specific input. Okay. Then we're done just like that. So let's just add some line breaks.
At Nyabula.
We'll add some line breaks. So this is just so we can have some spacing. Then we add another label again. This label will be for password input. Label be for password input 10, and then we'll write password, and the next line will be your input. Okay, so this is just a label. It's just to label the specific input to say this is when a person enters, this is what they need to enter. Then we've got type, and the type here will be password because we're entering a password, right? Then you'll give it the ID will be this specific one, password input 10. ID will be password input 10. Then you can close your input, then just line breaks again, line breaks, maybe 2. Then you can add your button. This will be obviously a type button. Then on click, so we want to add a function. This function will be verify user. My English was running there. So 10 for the lesson we're on. Then get input values. So what we're doing here, we'll just get the input values of what the user has entered, right? So that's what we'll be doing here. So let's also just have a space for it, the output. So this will be a div. The class will be output, and the ID will be message 10. Okay, message 10. Oh, that's outside the form. Okay, so just go outside the form, then add that div there. Then inside here we'll just say enter username and password, then click button. Excuse me. Okay, enter username and password, then click button. So what we did here, we just created a form. This form will consist of a username input, then a password input, then a button to be able to actually run this function. Okay, yes, you can add placeholders as well. So if you want, you can add a placeholder to just show the person that this is a username. Oh, placeholder. Then you can do the same thing here, just say password. Yeah, so it's if you want to add a placeholder, there's no need. It just depends on how you want to design it. Okay, cool. We're done with that part. Now let's write our function. Okay, our function, we already gave it a name up here. It's verify user 10. So we'll write
Get input values. Is a long name for a button.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want then, however you want to put it. We're just being as descriptive as possible. Remember, this is a lesson. It's like learning. We're not doing something that's going live to people. Cool. So here we now want to assign variables for our username and our password. So this will first be our username. And for us to get the username, we use document dot get element by ID, and the ID we're using is this one, username input 10. Then we just want to get the value. Then we can do the same thing for the password. Now I'm saying var password is equal to document dot get element by ID, and this will be password input 10 dot value. Okay, now we've basically we've assigned our variables to whatever value we'll be getting from the user there. Then all we have to do is just show it in our results or in our message div. So for us to do that, we can do document dot get element by ID, and the element we want to get is message 10. message 10, then dot inner HTML, it's equal to, we can just write now the information. So we'll just tell the user that the username that they entered is this username we just got. Then the password, you can add some HTML here just to do a break. Okay, let's just click enter so we can like split it up a bit. So we'll have password entered, and then we add the password entered plus password. Then yeah, so what we've done now, we've created a function. This function assigns variables to the values of the inputs that the user will do. Then this now finds this element of the div and puts in the div. It replaces the content with this of username entered is this username and password entered is this password. So that's what this does here. So let's now see how it looks, or how it works rather. Oh, I'm not running. Okay, so there's it, lesson 10. So we'll just say app academy. Password will be 1234567 8. And there's the information that the user has entered, right? So this is the information the user has entered. If I had to change this to random, we shall see this random stuff. Any questions? Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to the next lesson. So we are now on part 2. So here we'll continue building our login form by using a combination of conditionals and functions to verify the details entered by the user. So this time we want to now check the details that the user enters, are they correct? So we want to
What
make
time is the
sure
life starting? I join late and interested in learning.
it starts at 8, but just haven't be on the lookout from 7. Cool, let's do this next part. So obviously, firstly, we need to commit the changes we just made. So we're now on lesson 10, login form part 1. Let's commit and push. Okay, it's done. If someone wants to,
Bro, I've hit you up on TikTok. We spoke on my live. Please get back to me.
I shall get back to you. What was it saying? Oh, GitHub. if you want to download the repo, I've updated it to the latest version, which is now the login form. So you can just um download it and then continue from where we are. So now we're on lesson 11, right? I didn't even write lesson 10 here. Okay, we're on lesson 11 now. I shall get back to you. Okay, lesson 11. Now let's create a div with the class of lesson. And then inside this div, we'll have our normal h2. Yo, City FX, how are you? Lost from lesson 1. Need to catch up. Just watch yesterday's video. Watch yesterday's video. Lesson 11. Me project. Okay, so login form part 2. Okay, so I already said we need to now verify that what the user is entering is correct. So here we were just getting the value. So we'll be using um the same concept of getting the value to now verify if that value is correct. Okay, so let's do that. So all we do here is just we're trying to write nodes so that when you go back over this, you can see what was for what. Okay, so a strong, the concept is complete login verification with functions and conditionals. And then we'll just have try username app academy, and then password 12 at academy. Cool. So you can do whatever you want here. We're just giving the user, because this is a lesson, the actual details they need to use to log in. Okay, so let's create our form. Create our form, and then I'm back. Sorry. Do you see? Okay, cool. Let's create a label again. Create a label again. This will be for username. But here, let's just add which ID or which class we're actually using. So also be user name input 11 this time, because we're on lesson 11. So this is just us trying to name it based on the lesson we're on. It's not a standard. We're just trying to name it based on the lesson we are on. Okay, so it will be type of text. Then the ID is the same one we did here. Okay, and we just close it up. Just have two BRs just to do your break in between the two different elements. Then the next part, The next part is the password. So let's do a label for the password. So this is for uh, password input 11. Then we'll add password here. Then we add an input type of password, and the class, or the ID, sorry, will be password input 11. And we'll just close it off like that. Just have two BRs. Then we add our button. So this will be a button. So just adding type of button, and then on click we want to verify user 11. So we'll be using a new function called verify user 11. Okay, then we'll write the button's name will be login. Well, I spent me stuck inside studio inside there. So we've got our login. Then we're done with our form. Now let's just add a div so we can actually add a message here. So the class will be output, because we'll be showing an output here. Then the ID will be message 11, because we're on lesson number 11. Okay, then we're just gonna put a message here: enter credentials and click login. So basically we're just telling the user that they need to enter their credentials, then click on login. So now let's work on the script we'll be using to actually verify this user, or the code we'll be using to verify this user. Oh, finest 100 roses. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is crazy. Thank you, finest. Okay, what app I making? We're just learning JavaScript, teaching JavaScript. Thank you so much, finest. Millie, what are you saying? TikTok campus is ahead, or I'm trying to understand that part. Damn. Okay, let's continue. YouTube, you guys are good, right? Or tell me if I'm a bit fast. But let's continue. Okay, my button reveals no input when pressed. Which lesson are you on? Which lesson are you on? Because we're still on we're now on lesson 11. So you see right now, nothing will happen because we haven't worked on the actual function yet. So now we're just working on the function. So when someone clicks on login, it works for them. Good. Hi, Boitumelo. Okay, the first one we'll be working on is function. This function is the verify user 11. Okay, so it's just for us to verify the user. This is the function that is called by the button. So the button we have there that says login uses this function, right? So here all we want to do is capture or get the information that the user has entered. So we'll just create a variable for username, and that's equal to document. How? That's equal to document dot get element by ID, and this is our ID, username input 11. So we just use username input 11 dot value. So we're getting the value of whatever the user has entered there. Okay. You're also making AI. Okay. Okay, let's now add the password. The password, we're getting it the same way under the password get. Oh. Under the password input field. dot value. Ugh, no wonder. Cool. Now let's create another function here. Nice one. What's the name? Nzalo. That's dope. You should show us. Okay, let's create one more function. This function needs to now check the credentials that the user has given us. So let's first create this function. So this will be check user creds. So it's just short for credentials. Then what we want from
Evening,
this
bro.
evening queries kings, what we want to do here is we want to be able to pass in the username and pass in a password. So once we put those things in, we're gonna write a function to actually test those, right? So the first thing we'll do here is we'll add a var. This var will be the system, or you can rather just say admin username. Admin username is equal to what we set up here. So we said it's app academy, no space. Hi Kiki. All right. Then we add another variable. This will be admin password. And this is equal to the password we set up here. So that when the user enters these details, the entire, basically they are an admin. So that will be correct. If they enter something besides this, it will incorrect. But obviously this is not all. We need to now check how, we need to now check if what the user has entered is equal to what we have up here. Right? This obviously when
Hello,
you look
Nana.
at Nana. Hello, hello. So when you look at this is not the way to do it at all when you are creating an actual application or website that will be going live. This is just for us to test. Your APIs, your login authentication will be dealing with these, of checking if users actually exist or if they have certain privileges, right? So we're just doing this for testing purposes, right? Cool. So we can do a if. We check if our username is equal to the admin username. So what we're doing here, we're now checking. Thank you so much for the hats and mustache. My life goal is complete. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kiki. Okay, so we're adding a username. We're checking that if this username comes from here, right? So what we're gonna pass in, it comes from here. If it's equal to what we've set here, meaning they're an admin, then only will they be able to come in. But we also need to still check the password at the same time. So both of them need to be true. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So both of them need to be true, right? So all we'll do here is add an and. So this is to say that this condition cannot be true until both sides of the expression are true, right? So what we want to check here is if the password of the user is equal to the admin password. Okay, if it's equal to the admin password, then only then. Ah, Kiki, you are spoiling me. What? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, okay. And unfortunately, it doesn't show up on me as keys. Oh
Came in
yeah,
late.
the delay is very huge. You just missed one lesson, Glenn. You can download.
It does. Don't mind me.
Oh, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Glenn, you can just download the repo. It's down here on the bottom. At the bottom down there, you can get the repo right there. Thank you so much, Kiki. Okay, so we want to now show something because we now know that the username is equal to the admin username and the password is equal to the admin password, meaning these two are true. then only we show something, right? So this we show document dot get element by ID. The element we want to get is this one of message 11 because that's where we'll be showing the message. Okay, so we'll be showing the message, and then the inner, thank you so much, Kiki. The inner HTML will be equal to a message. So we'll just say correct logging you in. All right, we just say correct logging you in. So this message is what will show up. Yo, are you taking the entire gallery? Damn. Thank you so much. I think you're taking the entire gallery at this point. Okay, so this is the message we're gonna show inside here once the user has clicked on login, but that's only if the username and the password are correct. So this is just a conditional statement to say if this is true and this is true, then do this. But if none of these are true, or if maybe this one is false but this one is true, it must still not allow you to come in because one of them are incorrect, meaning they're false. So we say else, meaning if it's wrong, we'll just put another message, document.get element by ID, and we'll still use message 11 dot inner HTML. Then inside here we just say we just add in or username or password is incorrect. Then that's all we add. Thank you so much. Oh, it shows up. I see it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Uh what was I saying? It's yeah. Okay. So we've now created a function that actually checks the user credentials. Okay, we created a function that checks these user credentials, but we haven't used it anywhere yet. So where we need to use it is in this verify user, because this verify user is run when this button is clicked. Okay, so for us to do that, we need to now just call the function here. So we'll just say check user credentials, then we pass in the username and the password. This is us saying that whatever the
Hi, what are you building?
hi, thank you so much. Even took the roses. I know. Wang spoil Hashem. Thank you so much. That is so crazy. Thank you so much. We are doing lessons from FNB App Academy, so I'm just teaching JavaScript. Cool. So we call this function. There's the function right here. The function expects two parameters. So it expects a username and password. So what we're doing is we're getting the value of this input that the user will enter this password, and then we get that value and pass it here. Then we get the value of the password and pass it into this function. Once we get those two, this function of check user credentials gets called. Then it comes in here and then it starts checking to say whatever the user entered, is it equal to what we've set here as our admin username and our admin password. Then it will show the relevant message. So we're done with that. Let's see how that works. Okay, so let's first try a random username. So we'll just say admin, then the password will be 12345. If we click login, it tells us that our username or password is incorrect because what has happened is it came, it checked,
Hi,
and
how to
this.
link your Java with VS Code.
What do you mean? What do you mean? So what happens here? It came, it checked, and it said admin. Whatever the user entered was admin, right? The user entered admin, and admin is not equal to App Academy, obviously, right? And the user entered a password of 123. That is not equal to 12 Academy. So obviously this is now incorrect, meaning this does not get called. So this does not get executed. Then it moves to the else side and executes this because this condition was not met. Okay, so that was just me showing you visually how it actually happens once someone enters something. But now if we enter something correct, which is app academy and 12 at academy, right? 12 at academy. If we click login, it says correct, logging you in. Because now we've entered the correct details, the condition was true, therefore we now actually see the correct, that we've logged in with the correct details. So that's all. Hi Bubbles. So that's all. Are there any questions related to lesson what 10 and 11? How does this work when you have multiple users? So hence this will not work for multiple users. This is just for us to see how the function works. If you had
Like I can
multiple
see you are coding using HTML and Java BT. When I try running the code, it cannot run.
like I can see you're coding using HTML and Java BT. You mean JavaScript, I guess. When I try running the code, it cannot run. Where are you? Like, what have you done so far? Where are you stuck? Are you doing what we're doing, or you talking about Java, not JavaScript? Eric, what happens when you've got multiple users? When you have multiple users, like I said, this is not what you'd be doing. You'd use an authentication service, like you've got Firebase, Auth, Google Auth, whatever. So that manages all the users in a database, and you start checking using that authentication service to see if usernames and passwords are correct, because you don't store passwords, number one. Even them, they don't store them. It's an encryption, so it's hashed. That's how they'll now check if it's correct, right? So this is not a way you do it. Even if you're doing live, don't do it like this. Hard coding your passwords is very wrong. So you'd be using an authentication service. um your function is not showing the message after input the login details. Did you add the correct message, the correct ID in each of these? Did you add the correct ID? Message 11, as well as here. Make sure it's outside of the form, not inside the form. So it must be after the form and before the script. Any other questions? How to link user and admin? What do you mean by link user and admin? Are you on the WhatsApp BQ, or send it on TikTok first? Let me see. Mm, Was username entered plus username. Why do you have a curly bracket? What? Where are you? Oh. Mm, can you PQ? Can you try and check on the GitHub and see if maybe you entered something incorrectly? Because this is how it should be. Let me send it to you quickly. Okay, I'll continue then we'll get to that. Like e-commerce websites for user to view and the admin to change product. Yeah, so you'd have a user model that would contain whether a user is an admin or a normal user or customer or guest. So there you'd now be doing your actual authentication system or authentication service. You're not gonna do it just like this. You need to have a database, use either Django auth, Firebase auth, or write your own auth system if you want. But yeah, you're not gonna be able to do it like this. This is just for demonstration purposes only. The reason we have it like this is for demonstration purposes only.
Hey, Mr.
Hey, Mr.
Sims.
Sims. Mr. Bots, how are you? Mr. Bots. Apex, if you want an e-commerce site, there's that guy down there, Mr. Bots Putsilo Ramela. He'll do it for you. Oh, the guy left and then just joined. Shame. I'm joking. Don't bother Putsilo. Okay, cool. Let's now do the next part. Let's quickly commit and then do the next part. So it's lesson
My
11.
fee is
My
high,
fee is
very
high,
high.
very high. Ah, very, very high, we know. Okay, let's do lesson 11. Oh, this was login form part 2. Okay. All right, so it's committed. Let's move on. Let us move on to lesson 12. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Butilo charges 1.2 per hour, minimum of 3 hours. Okay, so now we'll be doing switch statements, right? So a switch statement works similar to an if statement.
Yep,
Yep,
Sims is right
Sims is right
1.2k per
1.2k
hour.
per hour. 1.2 per hour. Okay, Joseph. Uh cool. So in this lesson we're using the switch statement. It works similar to your if statement, but this one will handle multiple options. So the reason we're using it here is because we want to see if we've got multiple options. We can use a switch statement to actually deal with that. Sorry. Let's jump straight back to our VS Code, the West IDE, and lesson 12. So we'll add a div with the class of lesson. Should know that by now. And just for ourselves, we're just adding what this lesson is about. This is lesson 12. The switch statement. Then what is it about? Okay, so we're using a switch statement for multiple conditions. Okay, so that's what the concept is. So let's now work with our let's create our HTML file first, or our HTML structure. So we have a label. This will be for a class called weather 12. We're on lesson 12, remember? So we name our classes based on our lessons. So we're now on lesson 12. So this label will be called select weather. Okay, this is just a label. All right, and then the next part we add a select element. So this is so we can add different options on our HTML file, right? So this is just for people to be able to select a drop down of multiple options. So this is what it's used for. So we can say select, the ID for this select is weather 12. Okay, then we'll have multiple options. We'll give this one, the first one is the value. This will have no value because we want this to just show as choose weather. Then we add the next options. So the first option can be, let's just do option, how many do we need? Sunny, windy, rainy, snowy. We never get snow, but what the hell? So weather, so it's going to be 4 options. The first one will be sunny. Okay, the next one will be windy. Then we'll have rainy, and then we have snowy. Okay, so these are our options. Let's just see how that looks, so you can see what this actually does. So this is what that select element does. It gives you this where you can actually do a entire drop down that you can just click and it will show what you're currently on. Obviously we have choose weather, so if someone clicks on this, it just says choose weather. So they can select whatever they want, but now we want to write code to do something based on what they select. That's how we're going to use the switch statement. So let's see how we use the switch statement. Okay, so we should be done there. Then let's add a button here. This button will run on click. On click will say get weather advice. So we want to get the weather advice. This is a function we're going to call. All right, then we just want to show the output. So we always have a div with the class of output. Okay, div with the class of output. Then the ID will be advice 12 because we're on lesson 12. So it's just a select weather and click for advice. Cool. So we've got select weather and click for advice. So now let's just see what this does, what it looks like. Yeah, so we've got a button. So you click on the weather, then you click on the button, then it will show you the advice below here. Okay, so now let's work on doing this. Let's see how we do this. So we'll obviously start with our script tag or script element, so we can write JavaScript code in here. Okay, so we can write JavaScript code. We'll have that there, and then the first thing we want to create a variable. First one, I create our function. Let's create our function. The name of our function is get weather advice, like we wrote down there, up there. And we need no parameters at the moment. Okay, so let's add a variable var. This is weather selected. So we just want to capture which weather item was selected from the user's options here, right? So we do document dot get element by id weather 12, because that's the select element we want to get. Then we just want to get dot value. Then just like that, we've gotten our element. Then we'll just do var advice, and you don't have to do anything because we're gonna reuse this. We're gonna assign it to something else. Okay, so what we do here in the new JavaScript, right? You should be naming this as let and not var. Even this should be let, not var. But App Academy is using var, but let's just use let here because this is the newer way of defining variables, right? And this is a variable that will change. We know it will change, so we use let. If we knew it's not changing, we'd use const, meaning it does not change. You see, it gives us an error because we've not initialized it by adding anything to it. So let's use let advice. Okay, then we do a switch. So a switch comes like this, right? Okay, so switch comes like this. It has a case. The case would be the value, and then you've got whatever you want to do, then you break. So what it does is it will start, the switch will start, it will check if whatever you have here is equal to any of these cases, right? So it will check, okay, is this key equal here? If not, okay, that's not it. Let's move on to the next case. Is equal, not. Okay, let's move on to the next case. The moment it gets the correct one, it will execute whatever's in the case, then break the entire switch. So another thing, it has default. Default means that if all the cases are not met, meaning all these conditions are not met, it will default to something so that it does not just it doesn't have anything to actually show. So it will default to something. Okay, sorry. So let's now write what we want to do. So we want to check, our key would be this weather selected, the value here, weather selected. Okay, then the first one is we want to check sunny. We want to check when the case is sunny. We want to set this variable advice to say that if it's sunny, let's tell the user to wear your sunglasses and sunscreen. So we are now just telling the user based on this case. So you can have multiple cases. We'll add a next case. This will be if it's windy. And then here we can just say wear a jacket, secure loose items. Cool. Wear jacket and secure loose items. Then you have another case. Oh, please be aware of indentation. So make sure you in line with that first case. So the next case would be rainy. Then here we just tell the user don't forget an umbrella. Okay, then we add another case. Add another case. This will be for when it's snowy. And then the advice we'll give the user is bundle up and wear warm boots. Then the last one is the default. So the default we won't break, we'll just do a default of advice. And what's our default advice? Please select weather condition from the list. Cool. So what happens here? We've got sunny. So if a user selects from this list sunny, the case, the switch statement will have this value of sunny right here. Then it will come into the switch statement and check. The moment it finds that, okay, the case is sunny, meaning whatever the user selected is sunny, it will set advice to this um this variable right here. So we're gonna have advice as wear your sunglasses, right? So this will now be equal to wear your sunglasses. But we still need to add one more part here to actually show this advice in our HTML. So to show it, we just have after the switch statement, we put document dot get element by ID, and we want to set advice 12. Advice 12 being our output up here, this output right here. So we want to set that the inner HTML, we want to set it to advice. So whatever advice will be assigned as, we want to set it right there. Then that's done. So what happens here? The first thing is the user sees these select options. They select an option. Then only when they click the button get advice, this function gets called, which comes here. Then it will check which item from the list they selected. It gets the value, checks which item from the list they've selected, and assigns it to this specific word whether selected, right? Then after that, it comes into the switch statement. That whether selected comes here. The value is now here. It checks the first case that, okay, it's sunny. Let's say we selected snowy. So it comes that it's sunny. That's not it. Break. Oh no, move to the next case. Not break. Move to the next case. Then it comes, is windy equal to snowy? No. Then it moves on to the next one. Is rainy equal to snowy? No. Then it moves on to the last one. Is snowy equal to snowy? Yes. Okay, let's set advice to this and break. So break now means stop the entire switch statement. So just stop the check, then you're done. Then now you've got your advice. Then you just so the reason we use the switch statement here is because if we used an if statement, we were gonna have many. It was gonna be if whether selected is equal to sunny, and then do advice is equal to da 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 da, right? But now you're gonna have else if, and then you're gonna have another else if, then you can have another, you know. So you're gonna have multiple you're gonna have multiple things, right? Oh yeah, so it's gonna be else if whatever, else if something. So it doesn't look as clean, right? So the reason we added a switch statement is to avoid all of these else if, else if, else if, else if, else if, else. This is just to deal with multiple, conditions where you know the option could vary between any, right? So that's why we use the switch statement instead of the if statement. But now let's test to see what happens here. Let's refresh. So let's click windy. The moment we click get advice, it gives us that wear a jacket to and secure loose items. If we say, okay, no, it's actually snowy. Okay, snow is not working. Let's see why snow is not working. Snowy. Oh, okay. So here's another thing you need to be aware of. You see how here I've got capital R, but here I don't have capital R, capital S and capital S. So the reason now it didn't work here is because it checked for snowy with the capital S, and there's no snowy with the capital S right here. So it moved to the default, which says please select a weather condition from this list. So you see there's it right here. So if you do not use the correct casing, then you'd have those sort of issues. So let's just put it as lowercase and test again. Rainy, get advice. There, don't forget an umbrella. If we say snowy, oh, did I not just change snowy now? I said R. See, I said Roni, something like that. Cool. Let's refresh again. Snowy must work now. Snowy, there we go. Bundle up. So you've got all of these. This is just showing you a switch statement. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Any questions?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No. Rats. Guys, I just saw I've passed 5K followers. Thank you so much to everyone. Like, damn. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Uh let's quickly commit this and move on to the next lesson. We're going to lesson 13. Lesson 12 was yeah, BQ, the code gets really messy. Cool. We now move to lesson 13. Let's see what that's about. Numbers and strings. In this lesson, we'll go into the different ways JavaScript handles text, numbers, and how to properly use them to avoid error in your code. So here they didn't give us any code. We have to watch the videos. Let's move on. Let's do lesson 13. Okay, lesson 13. Start with our div. Listen. Cool. Then what we have to do here is add a function. How am I running to function already? Ignore that. We're not doing a function yet. We're at an h2 to say this is lesson 13. And numbers and strings part 1. Then we have a strong, just so we can add our concept. Understanding how JavaScript, understanding how JavaScript handles text versus numbers. That's what we'll be doing here. Cool. So the first thing we'll do here, we'll have a button, and on click, demonstrate. We demonstrate string number. Okay. So that's the function name we'll be using. Then we can just say show string versus number. Then we can have an output here, class of output, and then this will have an ID of string number output, string number output. Okay, so we'll just add some text to tell them that click to see the difference between strings and numbers. Click to see the difference between strings and numbers, then close your div. Then let's add a script tag. We will add our JavaScript. Cool. Are we still together? I hope we're still together. Hope we're still together. Bad. Okay. Let's move on. So let's now create our function. This function will be called demonstrate string number, like we had it there. See, demonstrate string number with no parameters. Then let's first create our first variable. This will be number a, which is equal to 5. Then we'll add another variable, number b, which is equal to 3. Then we'll have another variable, which is string a. This will be 5. So this is now a string, but a number. I hope you get that. So since it's in quotes, it's a string of 5, not an integer 5, but a string 5. We just want to see how JavaScript handles these. So we'll have var string b, and that is 3. Cool. Then we do our document dot get element by id, and we want to show the string number output. So that's the element we're getting. Then we can do dot inner html equals. Just press enter so you can space it out a bit. So we're still in that same equals, right? Don't forget, we're still in that same equals. You just click equals and press enter so it moves to the next line. Then let's first add number addition. So how does number addition look? How does number addition look with JavaScript? So for number addition, we have number a plus number b. So we've got number addition. So we want to see if we add these two numbers, what's the output JavaScript gives us? And then if we add these two strings, because they kind of numbers, what does JavaScript give us? Okay. So we're just saying number A plus number B equals equals number A plus number B. So JavaScript will now calculate here. It will check number A plus number B. What is it equal to? Then it will show us. Then you can say plus BR. So we can add a line space plus then enter. Are we following this thing? The pluses are very confusing, I'm sure. Are we following? I hold up. Yeah, yeah. Very, yeah. Okay, damn.
Yebo.
Okay. Now let's add the second one, which is string concatenation. 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 String concatenation, that's basically adding strings together. So for this one, we can say plus string. It's string A. Oh, actually, this is a lot. Yo. String A plus 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 string B plus equals plus string A plus string B plus BR plus. So what's happening here? It's just so we can show. Um, I think the easiest way. This is actually a lot. Let's do it like this. Let's remove these pluses because it might confuse you guys. Honestly, think it might confuse. Even here. Cool. So we've shortened it. We're just saying number addition. We want to see what the number addition gives us. So it will be plus number A plus number B in brackets. Then we break the line to the move to the next line. String concatenation will say string A plus string B. Then we move to the next line. Then the last one will be the mixed. We'll mix them. Okay. So mixed will be plus number. Mixed can be plus, open your brackets, number A plus string B. Number A plus string B. So this is what we have right here. Okay. So we've got document.getElement by ID. Hello Berry. Then we've got string number output is what we basically where we're gonna show this. The first one we're gonna show is number addition, so we're adding the numbers with JavaScript. Then the second one we're gonna show is string concatenation, meaning strings being added together. Then the last one we're gonna add is mix. So we wanna see if we add a number and a string, what we get. So let's see what happens here. Let's see. So for number addition, it added 5 plus 3, which is 8. For string concatenation, it just added the 5, then put the 3 next to it because it concatenated them together. Then for mixed, it didn't do an equation. It still put the 5 and put the 3, just put it together. So this is what JavaScript does with numbers and strings. Are we good? We're done with lesson 13. Why is lesson 13 inside lesson 12? Lesson 13 is in lesson 12. I put the div. Oh, the div is in this div. Darse. Uh, okay. Okay, this needs to move in. Darse. Cool. So this is lesson 13. Are there any questions? Do you guys understand this part?
Yes. Clear.
Clear. Cool. Let's commit and then we move on to the next lesson. Lesson 13. Numbers and strings. Numbers and strings part 1. Commit and push. Okay, that's done. Let's move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is lesson 13, right? Lesson 14. Converting text to numbers. Converting text to numbers. So let's jump into that. So just lesson 14. Then we add our div. Okay. So we add our div with the lesson. Then we just add our h2 and the topic. So this is lesson 14, numbers and strings part 2. We're now converting text to numbers. Okay, converting text to numbers. The concept is converting string input to numbers for calculations. All right. Actually feel tired today, damn. Okay, so we'll add an input. We'll add an input with the type of text, input of types text, and then the ID will be text number 1. Then we add a placeholder to just show they need to enter first number, and the value can just be 10. Okay, then input again, the input of type text with an ID of text number 2. Text number 2. Then we add a placeholder as well, which will say enter second number. And here you can just have a value 5. Okay. Okay, I'm coming back now. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we were on here, right? Okay. Uh, Next part is a button of on click and convert and add. That'll be the name. Convert and add. Then we just name the button and add. Alright, then the output as per usual. Output will be div with the class output, and then the ID will be conversion output. Then we're just saying enter numbers and click to see conversion in action. Let me just put that in the next line so you can see it better. It's enter numbers and click to see conversions in action. Cool. Let's now add our script. Let's now add our script. Then in our script we'll have a function. This function will be this convert and add. We don't need any parameters. Then the first variable we'll have is input1. Input1 is equal to document dot get element by the ID of text number 1. Text number 1, and we just get the value. And var input 2 is document dot get element by ID text number 2 dot value. Okay, let's do without. Hi Karabo, thank you so much. What did you give me? Oh, Corgi, thank you so much. Barry sent a heart me. Are you still here, Barry? Thank you so much. Hey, the way I don't see these things. Thank you for the heart me, Karabo. Thank you for the heart me, Barry. Okay, so we're now writing that without conversion. This is string concatenation. So this will be var string result, which is equal to our input 1 plus our input 2.
You don't Zem, it's a pleasure though.
You don't, Shem. It's a pleasure though. Thank you. Yeah, I don't see them. It's like covering here. So I'm gonna see it now when I was checking on the other screen. But thank you so much. Okay, so the first one is we're checking what happens when we add these two without converting the actual inputs, right? Without converting them, right? Then the next part is now with conversion, number addition. Okay, so let's do a var of number results. So we just want to see what number results. Now there's this function called parse int. What does parse int do? If you have a string or an input that gives you a string but you're expecting numbers, right? You can pass a string and change it to an integer. So what happens here is you've got this, it will come here like this, 5, right? Then when it comes in here, this function turns it to a normal 5 and removes the quotation mark. So it's no longer a string. It's now an integer. So it's passing it, converting it to an integer. So we want to convert input 1. Then we want to add that conversion with the pass int of input 2, because we know we're getting numbers there 10 and 5, which would be in strings, but it will convert it to integer. Thank you so much, Karabo, for the popular votes. Appreciate you. Then we do document because we want to see how it works. So let's just see it in that output div. So document.get element by ID. Then we want to get conversion. Conversion output. Obviously it's not working because it's not in quotes. Conversion output dot inner HTML, which is equal to, now let's see how it looks without conversion. Okay, how does it look without conversion? So we can just see the string result, and then we'll add a line break. Then we see with conversion. It might be, I don't know how your functions are. Maybe you didn't write it correctly. That's why it might not be working, but it could be the functions. Okay, with conversion, we just want to see the number result. So we can say plus number result plus, no, it's plus number result. So what we're doing here, we first want to just get one without converting to see what JavaScript gives us. Then we want to use the same inputs, but this time convert it to an integer. Then see what JavaScript gives us. So we'll see the result of these two. Let's see the result of these two. So let's go to the code, the website, and see. So you see it automatically fills in the thing because we put a value there of 10 and 5. If we click convert and add, why are you not working? Let's see. Convert and add. Did I miss something? Function. Conversion output is exactly the same. Pat. Why does someone think I did wrong? Let's see. On click convert and add. It's equal to. Ah, there's a problem. So my problem here is this. I added a capital U. I added a capital U. So being able to debug is quite important in programming. So you need to be able to just check for, these silly mistakes that could make your code not work. So now I can just replace that. There we go. So now it works. So what it done here, without conversion, it just added a 10 and a 5, and it just put it together. With the conversion, it added 10 plus 5, because we're using the same inputs, but you see it's now being able to do a calculation because we're able to change that input into an integer. So we're able to change it to an integer, right? So that's what this pass int is for. Are we all good? Do we understand? We all good?
Yes.
Yes. Owami, hi guys. Is there anyone who knows where we submit our work? They haven't said anything about submissions yet, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not too sure. Unless they've said something in that Q&A session, but I'm not too sure. Uh, okay, and what is this GitHub everybody's talking about? This GitHub everyone is talking about is a place where we store our code. So it's just where we can collaborate. So what I did here, people can actually download this and work on this as well. So it's just a way for collaboration and version control for all your projects. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's commit. I see there's no questions. Let's commit and then we move on to lesson. What is it? This was lesson 14. Okay, let's move on to the last lesson. Lesson 14, numbers and strings. Sort of, not compulsory, but it's the best practice. This is what they do industry level. So it's best to learn GitHub and use it, or you can use Bitbucket, GitLab. What is that? I don't know another one. Yeah, but that's what it's for. You can watch on my YouTube channel. There's previous videos. I think it's labeled CSS and GitHub, and then we just dive in onto how to set up GitHub. Okay, guys, we're done with that. Let's move on to lesson 15, which is the last lesson. So it says numbers and string, avoiding conversion errors. It's a pleasure, Oami. My YouTube channel is the same as my TikTok, Simphiwe Radebe __. Numbers and strings part 3. So avoiding conversion errors. So in this lesson, we're gonna fix our menus by okay. What do they mean there? I feel like this was from something else. Wait, let's quickly see something here. Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, this is incorrect. This is from the previous one. Let's move on to 15. Last lesson. How long did we take? 2 hours. Actually quite bad for just 5 lessons. I know, I know. Okay, let's start with our div. Okay, this is lesson 15. And this is numbers and strings part 3, avoiding conversion errors. Strong concept. What are we actually learning here? We are handling conversion errors and invalid input. Okay, let's start. First thing we'll have is an input. Okay, we'll first have an input, right? With the type of text, and then an ID, safe input 1, safe input 1. Placeholder will be um, enter first number. And the second one, input type, text again, ID, safe input 2, placeholder, enter second number.
To be half the person Simphiwe is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sandra. Okay. Let's add a button with an on click. And the on click will be save, convert, and add. Save, convert, and add. So this is the function we'll be calling for this. Then we can just add save, convert, and add. It's just a button name. Then where we want to show the actual details, so we have the output div as usual. Output, then ID, safe output. Then we'll say try entering, actually let's close this, entering both numbers and non-numbers for error handling. So what we want to do is we want people to be able to add numbers and non-numbers for error handling, so we can see how we can handle certain errors where someone will enter something that's not a number. Okay, so now let's add our script. We'll add our script, and then why not closing? Wait, what did I do wrong? Did I close the button? Close the button, close the input. So what's missing here? Oh, That's some weird stuff. Okay, let's add our function. The function will be called save, convert, and add. Save. And we don't need any parameters. Let's start with our first variable, which would be input one. Input one, we'll find it at document.getElement by ID. And we'll have a safe input one. So that's that ID right there, safe input one dot value. So we want to get the value of this input. Then let's do var input number two document dot get element by ID. The ID we're looking for is safe input two dot value. So we want to get the value of those. Now we have the value of our inputs. So whatever numbers the users will enter here, we've got the values of them right here now. So let's now see what we can do with it. Let's first convert them to numbers. So we can have one as num1. And to convert a string to number, we use parse int, which will change this to, it will convert this string into a number. So the int we want to first change is input 1. Then we can do a var num2 where we pass int, and this will be input 2. Okay, then now let's do an if statement. We want to check a few things, right? So the first thing we want to check is if the numbers are actually numbers, right? So we can do an if, then is nan. What's nan? Is nan. This is a JavaScript function, right? This checks if a number is not a number, right? It checks if it's not a number. So if this returns true, then the number you have added is not a number, right? So what we're doing here, we want to check if num1 is not a number or is not a number of num2. So all this is doing, it's now checking that, okay, the two numbers we've just passed, right? We've changed these to integers, okay? So we've changed num1 to an integer, we've changed num2 to an integer. Now we want to check those two numbers we just checked or we just changed or converted, are they actual valid numbers? So we check with is nan, is not a number. If num1 is not a number, then that means this is true. Therefore, we need to say that they've entered an invalid number. But all we want to check is between the two. We don't want to check if both of them are not numbers. We want to check if either or. So why did I add these two vertical lines? These two vertical lines, you'll find them on your backward slash or backward slash. On Mac, it's backward slash. On Mac, it's backward slash. So you'll find these two lines. So it's a one line, I mean, like a straight line. This is what you use to say or in JavaScript. So you saw we used and, um so you've got or. So to use or, it's the two lines. So you're saying to JavaScript, check this function, or check this expression, or check this expression. You don't, both of them don't have to be true. One of them can be true. Then you can run the next step. Okay, so that's what we're doing right here. So that's what we're doing right here. So we want to check if num1 is not a number as well as num2 is not a number. So if that's true, and then we can just add document.getElement by ID. And what we want to do here is we want to put it in the safe output. Okay, this ID right here, this output, we want to put our information there. So we can do inner.inner.html and say equal. Then you can press enter. So now let's tell the user what's happening here. So the first thing we'll tell the user is error. Please enter valid numbers only. Okay. So this is what we're doing here. We're just telling them to please enter valid numbers only. Then you can add a BR so that the next line is, it's on the next line. Then you can say plus, and then we do an enter so we can do the next part. Now we'll add a second part, which is we are now telling the user which ones are wrong. So we can say input 1, okay, input 1. Then we do plus, so input 1 plus input 1. So we want to show the inputs, right? So we're just going to show that this is what you put for input 1. And then we want to also say that what is it now? No, this is actually a bit, let me see. Gosh, where's this come from? Okay. All right, so we want to say input 1. We're checking input 1. If input 1 is not a number, okay, this is now also something different that I need to explain as well. So all we check, we want to show the user that input 1 was either valid or invalid, or input 2 was valid or invalid. So what happens here, right? So ignore this part. What's happening here? What is happening here? I'm sure you're just like, okay, what is this? So what this is doing, you put it in brackets because you're now doing still like a if statement in a way, but it's like one line. So it's now checking if this is true, I want you to show this, and then if not, show that. This is your default. So it's just saying if this, show this, else show that. So this is like an inline if statement. So this is like this, you could do this the same way you do that. You'd have it like if is nan num1, then you would say invalid, and then you'd say else, then you'd say valid, invalid, valid. So what happens is just you're now making this simple if statement into one line. So the way you do it is, this is the first option. So question mark, so you do your conditional or your check. Then if that check is true, question mark, then you put the option that must happen if it's true. Then you put colon if it's false. So this is just checking if your condition is true, do this. If it's false, do that. It's basically what we have right here. That's the same thing as this, and it's in brackets so it can run on its own. Okay, do you understand that part? I hope you understand that part. And then we're just doing num2. So we just want to show the user that since they got it wrong, which ones, what was wrong in what they got. Okay, so we just want to show them what was wrong in what they got. Okay, and then what am I missing? I'm missing curly brackets. Okay, then we do an else. Then in this else, we can just show a success. So it's going to be document dot get element by id, and here we put safe output dot inner html. Then what we're showing here is our message. So it will be success, and then we'll say num1 plus num2 is equal to plus num1 plus num2. So now we're just showing the user that it was successful. So num1 plus num2 is equal to this equation right here, which is num1 and num2. And then just like that, that is done. I'm sure these pluses confuse, but yeah, this is just for learning. You wouldn't do it like this in most cases. So let's see what this has done for us. Here's lesson 10. So let's enter our first number, which is correct. 455 plus 5 should be 460, right? Which is successful. But now let's enter some text in here. Let's say 5, like that. So you see how it's an error. So it's now showing us that it's an error, and then it tells us input 1, which is 455, is valid, but input 2, which we added as 5, which is text, is invalid. So it's not a number. So that's an error. So this is how you handle errors when it comes to converting certain certain things. So you've got this is adding a string instead of adding a number. Even if you add it like that, oh, it removed that. See, that's a bug we have. Let's see if we start with number. I mean letter. Okay, cool. Are there any questions? We're basically done with the entire week 4. Yeah, 2 days. We're done with the entire week 4. So we're done. Are there any questions? So you can always now just see what does what. So this tells you that this was the changing using variables, math equations. So it's now if else statements. Check password. Let's do 007. Check password. See, so we can click this to change. We've done all of week 4 content. All of it is now on here. So you can always now come here and now reference what you want to use in maybe a website. You'd see it here. Say, oh, maybe I want to change text using JavaScript when a button is clicked. This is what you'd be doing. Then maybe I want to change, I want to use variables, so everything is now here. Let's commit this lesson. This is lesson what? Lesson 15, final lesson. Lesson 15. What is lesson 15 about? Avoiding conversion errors. Let's just copy it. Okay, commit and push. Any questions? Basically done with App Academy content. Everything is done. I take that as a no. So this is on our GitHub. Can let's just amend this.
No
Questions?
questions yet.
Alright. Okay, we're done with that. Since there's no questions, that is week 4 complete. I wanted to do the e-commerce, but I think rather we start tomorrow, or tomorrow's Wednesday. We can take tomorrow as a Q&A. No, they said you wanted Q&A on Friday, right? When is Q&A? I don't know. So we can start the actual e-commerce side tomorrow. Let's see how far we actually got. Oh yeah, that's how far we got. Oh yeah, we're doing carts. We're doing the carts. We've done view details. Just doing the cart. We done these. I think I want to do a live where I'm just coding my own stuff. Since we're done with this for now. I don't think it will be on YouTube though. Because I don't want to share my screen.
Thank you so much.
It's only a pleasure. Guys are making my commits grow. I'm happy. I'll start committing more. Oh. Art for you. So I see you have that there. Let me try and see how I can show you. Oh, I closed VS Code already. That is crazy. So, for you, I want you to see something. Git init must have a space, so it must be git space init. All right, it has to have a space. That's why. But I see you've already initialized because I see main there. So the next thing you need to do is when you're adding, you need to say git add readme dot md. You need to do git add. So it obviously won't find uh, readmd as a command, right? So art for you, please just tell me if you hear before I continue. Art for you is not answering us. Yeah, no, you'll watch it. You'll watch it. So art for you, you need to use git add readme. Click enter, then it will add it to your. So it will start. It will add it. So I've added this. Then you do git commit dash m. Then you have init. What initial commit. So I'm not gonna always have that, but you'll have git commit dash m initial commit. Then enter this. Mine will be just update readme.md file with information. Enter. Then once you're done, it will add to GitHub. It will do your commit for you. Then you do git push. Then just like that, you're done. Cool. That's for art for you. And you can go to your GitHub and then you'll see the commit there. So there's the commit. I just done this. So I can read the readme as well. Forked it. Okay, I think we're done. I'm gonna cut one of these so we can use them for TikTok. But once it's is klaar. Are there any questions, comments? It's a pleasure, Millie. There's a tic tac toe game with JavaScript. Yo, I think I'm gonna end on TikTok. I'm on YouTube so I can play some music. So I can play some music.
Thank you so much for these valuable lessons. Really appreciate it's syncing and connecting together all the missing pieces.
That's exactly how it should be. Thank you so much. That's how it should be. Let's push this. Guys, here's a job. You can become Android developers. Here's a job for you guys.